Welcome to the Doctor's Corner. I'm your host, as always, Dr. Mark Pinsky, and today I have an extremely special guest, Andrew DeCaro, who I consider to be an expert when it comes to health and wellness, is here to talk about various topics. We're going to do several different segments, but the first segment's going to be on hydration. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. All right, so let's talk about hydration just in general terms, okay?
Sure.
So when we talk about that, think mostly water, okay?
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's just talk about that. It's a problem. But in general, let's just talk about fluids in general.
Okay.
So in general, we say that you should take in roughly half your body weight in water per day in ounces.
Correct.
Okay? And then if you're going to do athletic activity, roughly you add another 20%. And if you're going to do it outside, you add another 20%.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think where the miscalculation comes in is everybody's different, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it becomes very difficult to figure out exactly what you should be taking in, right?
Right.
And so what I've always taught people is that's a good guide.
Yeah.
But you have to sort of do your own thing to figure it out.
Yeah, it's very individualized. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach because, for example, it's all about activity level, your environment. Like if it's a rainy day and I'm sitting at home and I'm just watching movies doing nothing, my fluid intake needs or requirements are going to be different than if I'm outside in the hot sun, gardening or going to the gym or something like that, where I'm losing lots of sweat, where I'm losing lots of sodium, lots of minerals, potassium, and so forth. So it's really individualized towards that person on what their activity level is like.
I agree. So what we have is a lot of the time, this is obvious this time of year, right? Almost everybody is very, very cognizant about not drinking or drinking. But what I find, particularly in my seniors, right, who here are incredibly athletic, is in the wintertime when it cools down. Now, don't forget here, it rarely cools down enough to really make much of a difference. You get a little drop in the humidity, but they tend to really decrease their water intake. And I actually see more episodes of dehydration in the wintertime because it's not such a prevalent thought process than I do now. So that's sort of an interesting thing that
That's very interesting. You see it more so in the wintertime.
Yeah, I have seen it more in the wintertime, and I think because everybody down here, unless you're new down here.
Yeah.
If you haven't been down here, that's a different story.
Right.
So let's take the topic towards people who are in the gym.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because there are a lot of people who work out, who are doing resistance training, who are under the notion, hey, I'm doing resistance work. I don't really burn a lot, and I don't really need to take in electrolyte replacements. So this is your ball.
When you're doing resistance training, it's absolutely vital to be taking in electrolyte replacement because when you're lifting weights, when you're working those type 2 muscle fibers, when you're doing those anaerobic-like activities, even if you're doing high-intense interval training cardio, you're going through fatigue toxins, ammonia, cortisol, all these things that, get our systems out of whack, that make us get tired quicker, that make us give out quicker, that, that basically deregulate our electrolyte balance. Now, when we consume the electrolytes in, we now downregulate these fatigue toxins and we're able to perform more optimally. Right. Our system's now optimized when we have a proper electrolyte hydration balance going in. Okay. And that's what's so impressive about this product.
All right, we're going to get there.
Yeah, I know.
We're definitely going to get there. So let me ask you this. Do you preload before you go into the gym?
You do both. Okay. Before, during, and after.
Okay, so tell me how you do it.
Yeah. So beforehand, before I go to the gym, I will mix my hydrate, my electrolyte drink, and I will consume that. Then I will actually mix another one, and I will sip on that, nurse that during my workout. So I'm almost getting like an IV drip of electrolytes.
Love it.
So I'm not fatiguing as quick. I'm not getting tired as quick, and I'm able to perform more optimally in the gym where I want it to be, so I can get the best result. Now, you don't get the same effect of water.
Correct.
You don't.
Right.
So, the best comparison I could say is this is like water is like horse and buggy days. This is F-14 Tomcat. Okay? To make better sense of it. So yeah.
Right. So I like that because I really think that, I do take care of a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
And the days that they do cardio, they're all over it, right? They're all over it. I have a good buddy of mine who's a PhD electrophysiologist, I guess he goes by. Not electrophysiologist. He's an exercise physiologist. Exercise physiologist, excuse me. Yeah. So he's a PhD exercise physiologist at a major university. He does all of these studies and high fluid stuff. And you talk to him for about 5 minutes and you're like gone because he's so intense, right? And this subject matter, I did speak to him about.
Right.
He lost me in about 5 minutes.
Did he?
Oh, Lord, he's over the top. But his message is the same.
Yeah.
So it's this same message that if you have high intensity training, you're going to have to preload a couple of days before.
I think this is big for high intensity training, but a big concern is going to be right now it's really hot, and we have a lot of people that work manual labor jobs, and I'm getting plenty of reports of ER visits due to heat related strokes.
Right.
So how does dehydration play into that?
So here's the thing, right? By the time you get thirsty, you're already 10% down.
Right.
If you're relying on thirst, which is what a lot of people do, as a mechanism for dehydration, you're done because you're already behind and you can't catch up. You need to try to stay ahead of the curve. So what happens when you get dehydrated? All your systems start to break down.
Right.
Cardiovascularly, right, heart rate goes up.
Yep.
Heart is forced to work harder.
Yeah.
Means that everything else is forced to work harder.
Yeah. Kidney elevations. All
everything.
That. Yeah.
So all your enzymes go up kidney, all your liver enzymes go up, and then you start to develop a breakdown neurologically.
Right.
So heat exhaustion and heat stroke are different. Heat exhaustion, you start to see compromise. People get dizzy, people start to pass out, they get a little lightheaded. But when you get real true heat stroke, there is an absolute positive neurological dysfunction. Temperature goes above 102.7. Then all of a sudden, yes, you pass out, but your possibility of seizing goes up, and there's a whole bunch of other complications, right?
Because your sodium and and
all that gets all messed up. The danger to that, not just for immediate, but the danger becomes down the road.
Right.
So if you do that as a youth, you are 4 times more likely to develop another heat stroke in your lifetime. And so you don't ever want to get there because you are constantly in jeopardy of going there. So that's
this is what I do. What I usually do is I take a gallon jug in the morning and I mix some hydrate in it, and I will nurse that all day long. Right. Because I don't work outside in the heat. But still,
But you're out there.
I'm out there, and then before the gym, I mix it during, and then afterward, we have our post-workout nutrition, which contains the electrolytes, more stuff, but contains the electrolytes. So yes, that is what I do, because it's really vital, especially right now. But I think it's really fascinating. We have more patients you're seeing in the wintertime than in the summertime.
Yep.
It makes it even more paramount. So
it's I don't know whether those people actually wind up going to the ER in the wintertime, but you see them struggle more.
Yeah.
And they don't put the two together. They get dizzy, they're getting headaches.
Right.
They're getting all those things that are classic symptoms of early dehydration, but they don't recognize it.
Yeah, and it's got the product has a really strong profile.
Right.
It's made with coconut oil. There's virtually no fat. So it's not going to
coconut water.
Coconut water. I'm sorry, coconut water. Good one. It has about 10 calories.
Right.
So you're not going to somebody who's dieting or somebody's trying to be in a caloric surplus or a caloric decrease. They are not going to affect their caloric intake.
Right. Correct.
So that's where it's really, really beneficial. Now we have great amounts of magnesium and calcium, which can aid in preventing kidney stones. But you being the MD, I'm going to let you explain that one.
So the basic mechanism to that, right, is you need a balance between calcium and magnesium.
Right.
Right. And so when you get out of balance there, one way or the other, there's an increased risk of stones.
Yes.
In that. And just hydrating. I tell patients all the time.
Yes.
The best way to prevent stones, drink water.
Yeah.
Right? You got to stay hydrated because once you get concentrated and that concentration goes to the kidney, you get sediment, and then you're more likely to form stones.
Yeah.
So the reason why I love this product, and you and I share that, is because of the balance of the electrolytes.
Yeah.
Calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium are all in a 1:1:1:1 ratio.
And this is really key what you just said, because what he just said right there, the perfect balance, you don't get that from Powerade, you don't get that from Gatorade. You don't. It does not have the same. It's usually a proprietary blend where we don't truly know what's in it. It's loaded with a lot of sugar, which will impact your your calories. So very key right there is the ratio that's used is very transparent. So yeah.
And again, no added sugar in Hydrate, as you mentioned, everything flavored with stevia. Even the new G-Fit, which I did my homework.
Yes.
G-Fit actually is made with watermelon juice, and with stevia.
I didn't know that.
But they kept the same electrolyte balance in there. So they put 270 milligrams of sodium in there and 90 milligrams of potassium with no calcium and no magnesium.
Wow.
So as a recovery thing,
Yeah.
their claim is that you mostly lose sodium and that's all you need to do.
Right.
That's not true.
No, it's not. It's not at
definitely
all.
not
true. You know, the problem is. So here's the thing. I've often said this before. The amount of misinformation in there spawns quicker than you or I could kill it.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least what we can do is, we get together and we can provide this. Okay. Yeah.
And so I agree with you. That's one of the other benefits is the actual ability to recover because of the components of how it's made.
Yes.
Again, all ID Life products have no artificial anything in there, no fillers in there. And from my perspective, as we're going to talk about in future shows.
Yeah, and this is what we need because like in most of our lives, in my life, in your life, there is no off season.
Right.
Every day of my life, from the boardroom to the weight room, I got to be performing 100%.
Right.
So, and using products like Hydrate really is what helps my system remain optimal for that performance.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about hydration that I missed in a brief form? I mean, we could talk hours about it.
Yeah, we could talk hours about it. Yeah, but I think we hit a lot of the key points on the importance of hydrating. And the overall importance of how it helps your system function optimally and with performance.
Right.
So, and where we differentiate from, stuff like Gatorade, Powerade, stuff like that, and how we stand apart, and we're a much smarter option than those choices.
I agree.
Good.
That's the best conclusion. I can't do any better than that conclusion. So that's how we're going to end the show.
We try.
All right? For Andrew DeCaro, I am Dr. Mark Pinsky. You've been watching The Doctor's Corner. This is Dr. Mark Pinsky once again asking you to forward questions to us, whether regarding this episode or any of our past episodes, at drmarkscorner@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to check us out on our website, pinskywellness.com or pinskyweightloss.com. We look forward to hearing all of your questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as we do. Y'all have a great week.